like 20, you know, they're in college and shit. They get that first iPhone,
the first touchscreen phone.
Yeah, and then like the laptops are slow, internet slow, but it's building patience, it's building character. They still, you know, they still gotta do shit and go places.
Can't use Google till you're 26.
Yeah, Google came out later. When did Google come out?
Right. No, we were using Google when we were in high school.
I mean, I remember using
was it good at all though, really?
Well, because like that was still whenever like boob pictures would just like pop up for no apparent reason. Like if you Google like Abraham Lincoln and then you're scrolling through pictures and it's like a random like
titty picture.
I
remember we used to use Ask Jeeves and Yahoo before Google, and when I was in high school.
MSN.
MSN, but there was this one Vista or something. There was one that was like weird that let us see porn at school.
Oh.
That went outside the system.
I don't remember which ones I'd used to watch, like Happy Tree Friends. I watched that a lot at school.
What's that?
That little animated, they're like little bunnies or whatever.
Oh,
and they
that was a cartoon.
And they kill each other. It was like brutal.
It was like really brutal.
So yeah, so that's what they had. They had to watch weird YouTube shit, like early YouTube.
I'm pretty sure you're the one. Yeah, you're the like one of the original ones to like introduce that to.
Probably.
Our
class or whatever. Yeah, probably.
That was cool when it'd be like one person that would introduce a new thing and then they would catch on.
Right.
Instead of everybody already knows
like,
about it.
Of course, we've all seen it. Yeah.
Like, yeah, bro, I saw that last week.
But we had to figure out how the kids still use proxies. Like,
what was a proxy?
Like, well, I know.
Like you're saying that Vista, like a.
Oh, okay, to go out to the system.
Yeah.
With like before, we used to have to go to like a website and then like type in the website in through there. But I know like later on it became. Like I don't know, like sometimes I would see it, but yeah, so it was like that.
Mm.
And that way you can go through blocked websites.
Right.
So because it looks like you're just going through that website.
That was usually play games and stuff, right?
Yeah.
They block a lot of games. Yeah, the kids that, because I work at Link, they know how to do that too. I mean, some of them. I think it's pretty cool because, like, oh, you figured it out.
That's what I think. I'm like, wow, that was very intelligent of you. Like, you deserve that.
You're using, I mean, because those are the people that are going to have those kind of jobs later. I mean, that's going to just, and then I know they're good, like, if they're a good kid and shit, like, I'm not going to trip.
Right.
But, alright, so then, when they're like, damn, that's the first iPhone. When does the iPad come out? Like, I guess when they're, well, yeah, they can't get it to the 30. The vapes, when they're like, I guess I was like 30. That shit's like real brand new.
Real new,
yeah. They don't get no chocolate mushrooms. They just have to eat real mushrooms from cow shit. That they have to get from like weird people that you meet.
God wants kids to eat cow shit.
No dispensaries. None of this fucking fancy ass online. There's no THCA, CBD, THCX, THC, blah blah blah. It was just Mexican weed and dro. Yeah. And if depending on who you had to socialize, you had to get in uncomfortable situations and meet people that might be out your circle, but you learn something and you learn about people and you realize all these people are just, you know, regular people too. They just have characteristics that may be different than yours, but you're not just going to like, it's so, I don't know, it's become very commercial. Like the commercialization of weed is like taking the heart out of it.
Yeah.
It also, I mean, but.
It's cool though too.
There's positives, of course.
Also, I feel like being bitter.
Because.
Yeah, that's me being an old guy, yeah, for sure. I can acknowledge that.
Yeah, like the first time we had to try Kush, we went to a trap house. And but it was the most beautiful weed that we had ever seen, and I don't know if it was just like my memory, like, but I remember it being so fluffy and everything. But that's how the
I think like when it was new, when Kush was new, it was like top shit.
Yeah. And
then it got caught on, and people started wanting it more, so they just kind of like made it faster or something.
Right, or started growing it here.
Mass production, yeah. So more people started growing it, not as good. Because then nobody was buying Reggie or Brickweed, and it just became obsolete.
Yeah. Old country people still buy that though.
Oh yeah,
for sure. It's wild.
Poor guys.
For real.
But I mean, if they like it, I guess everybody has their own preference. If it gets,
I feel like it's just that they haven't really tried. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like the people who like whenever people go to other countries and teach people about Christianity, and they're like, "You're gonna go to hell if you don't choose Christ." And I'm like, well, what if I didn't know? And I'm like, "Oh, you would have been fine."
Right.
Like, well, if you tell
Why
me.
are you telling me about this? Yeah.
The first episode was just kind of like very introductory and just about like where Dan Schneider came from.
His origins.
Basically.
Where did he come from?
Well, so he was an actor on some like he was not an extra, but like a side character on some show, and I can't remember what it's called.
When he was still thin, right? Like, I think I saw a picture.
No, definitely not. Because he's a side character in like maybe 4 or 5 things where he literally just played the fat kid that everyone made fun of. Like his only lines would be like or something because they called him fat or some shit like that, right? And for whatever, but then he started writing on one of those shows. And when that show ended, somebody from that show was working at Nickelodeon and was like, "Yo, you want to come try to write for me?" Mm-hmm. And so they wrote all that. And they started writing all that. And then first episode goes into him discovering Amanda Bynes. And they never, like, say anything about... Because she's not on the show either.
On all that?
No, I mean, like as an adult, she doesn't come on the show and say anything or like.
Oh
yeah.
I mean? I've heard a theory that that's not really her no more or something like that.
She's on some crazy shit for sure.
Yeah.
She came out with that rap song. It was
Recently?
like a minute long.
The one
it was probably like 4 or 5 years ago.
Since she's had the tattoo, supposedly that's not her.
Yeah.
The same person said that it's not Britney Spears either. That they either got a mask or somebody else or something. Yeah. Or AI or some shit.
But they're basically they're just showing they do say like they were always around each other though. Like
Amanda and
Dan. Like they would be in his office writing together or something like that all the time.
She's the one that got pregnant, right? And had to get an abortion.
No, that was Britney Spears' younger sister.
No, supposedly.
She had the baby.
Supposedly. That, I mean, like, allegedly. And we don't know. I mean, it's a rumor.
Yeah.
It's a rumor that Amanda Bynes did get pregnant by Schneider.
She gotta get an abortion.
Oh, really? I never heard that one.
Yeah. The Britney Spears sister, she had the baby.
Right, that's right.
And it looks like Schneider.
Right.
And her boyfriend broke up with her probably because it's like, this ain't
clearly that's
my kid. Yeah.
But yeah, and so that's basically the first episode. And them saying how he wasn't mean or anything at the beginning of all that, they said, really. It just sort of seemed like the power got to his head. And then they also interviewed the only 2 women that wrote for him. And apparently he's very sexist.
Oh, I saw a clip. It was so hard to watch. Like when she said that he made one bend over and pretend
act like you're getting sodomized while you say that story.
And at first they were laughing and shit, and he was like, "No, I'm serious."
No, like do it, yeah.
If you're not, then you're fired. It's like, what?
That's nuts. Yeah.
And it's like some people, the people who say, "Oh, they're making that shit," it's like certain things you can't just make up, like.
Right, like that's weirdly specific, and you could tell like they're going back to that moment by saying
it's hard for them to say it.
And then after that was talked about, she goes, she's like, I feel bad for that young girl, whatever she went through.
The one that he said that to, she didn't want to talk about that.
Right.
It was the other lady that kind of told
that was
the story.
there. Yeah.
And then but then the one he said that to ends up quitting. And so then the other lady is just by herself with all men. And so he was making them split a salary as well.
Wow.
And then they find out, the men are getting paid normal, whatever.
And then also they were working overtime and shit. Like,
so then the one lady quits and he's like, all right, cool, I'm going to bring you on for the second season. and I'm gonna pay you a full salary, but I also need you won't get paid for these 80 weeks, basically.
And they did that to the kids too, right? They're making them work late.
Oh yeah, they were breaking child labor laws and stuff. All of them were talking about that.
It's crazy because it's like that's a certain kind of evil, because it's not just sexual abuse. Like, it's not just a pervert. I mean, there's no just that, but also he's mentally and physically making them work. So he's like it's an evil kind of.
Every power trip he could get on. Yeah.
Like, they have to do what I say.
And they couldn't say no.
Right.
Otherwise, they seem like too hard to work with.
That's what some of the parents were saying too. Like, I didn't want to say, hey, we need to go because I don't want to mess up his opportunity or whatever.
But what's crazy is, so that the same shit that they do to the kids, they do to the adults. Like when Monique did the Precious movie with Oprah and Tyler Perry, they wanted her to go promote it in Paris.
That was them three that made them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, Monique was in it, but Tyler Perry and Oprah produced it.
Okay.
And they wanted her to go for free to, they said they'll get her a hotel though, but she's like, no, I don't have a lot of time to spend with my family. I did my contractual work. I don't have to go promote it, so I'm not going to go. And so after that, they started labeling her as hard to work with.
Right.
And so, like, nobody wanted to hire her. She got blackballed. And it's
right, you see her for a while.
Yeah. And I just remember, like, a year or two ago when she came out, like, talking about Netflix didn't want to give her no money. And I didn't really know what that was about, but it must have stemmed from that.
Right.
Yeah, and supposedly Jamie Foxx was going to say some similar shit. It's crazy.
Hey, you remember Madagascar 2? I was watching it with Shredder. You remember when the hippo, like, he didn't know how to spit game? She's like, why do you like me? And he's like, because you're so chunky. and she's like, okay, what else? He's like, because you big, girl.
Is it the giraffe?
Nah, it was this other hippo in Africa.
Oh,
the giraffe wanted to spit game, but he was too nerdy.
Yeah,
he didn't know how to say anything.
Right.
It was like, I like, yo, jiggle.
So what's the second one's premise? Because the first one's where they meet the lemurs and all, right?
Yeah, they're in Madagascar,
right,
which is a little island off Africa.
In the first one, or they stay there.
They stay. So in the second one, it starts off with them in a fucked up plane that they fix, that the penguins fix, and they're gonna shoot it in a boomerang, not a boomerang, a slingshot.
Oh, okay.
And they're gonna try to get back to New York. That's their plan.
Okay.
They end up in Africa. And it also flashes back to
I guess I've never seen that one.
Really? It also flashes back when Alex was a little cub and they steal him from his dad. And then how he always liked to dance and he was like playing with butterflies. And he's like, no, son, no, we gotta fight.
Yeah.
He's like, ha, ha. And then so when he ended up in New York as a little cub, he started performing and they had loved it. Yeah. And then they're all little and shit and they're like, the zebra was like, I don't trust this guy. And then, like, it showed him the years later. He's like, I still don't trust this guy. That is. But, yeah, so they end up in Africa, and then he sees he meets his parents, and there's, like, another, it's pretty good. It's like Lion King, but funny.
Right.
Because he has to fight, like, another lion dude.
That's Ben Stiller, right?
Ben Stiller, Chris Rock.
Like David Schwimmer.
I think Jada Pinkett is the hippo. And then oh man, the I like the movie. That guy's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's like, cause he was like.
So he's in the second one too.
Yeah. Cause he's like, I'm going with you to New York.
Mm.
And he comes out of a cake dressed like a chick. He's like, who is attracted to me? I saw you were attracted. I was a pretty lady. It's like, oh, this is hilarious. I don't know if I could do that today.
Right.
A lot of Ben Stiller movies, like I haven't seen the one where he's like in a camp. Did you see the fat camp one?
Oh,
where he's like a mean camp.
Yeah, that's not the greatest. What is that called? I can't think.
I don't know, but I need to watch it. That's some clips.
That's a classic. Yeah.
But that one, Tropic Thunder, a lot of his movies.
No,
I've seen Tropic Thunder, but it's just like those where it was like
they're problematic kind of.
They couldn't make them today.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, and I think Cedric the Entertainer was the little helper of the King Julian.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, sir, I think they don't like that idea.
Right.
Yeah. That's great, bro. That was back in the day before we knew the secrets about Cedric stealing jokes and shit. Good times. It kind of sucks that we know everything now, but I guess we grew up.
Wait, who?
Cedric the Entertainer. You remember Kings of Comedy?
It was like the shorter guy,
The short, chubby dude.
glasses.
The Steve Harvey show. The dark.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
They did a Honeymooners movie with him and Mike
Oh
Epps.
yeah, I didn't see it.
I'll send you to the moon. I wonder if they can do
Alright,
that.
she
She said Vincent Van Gogh is the second Vincent Van Gogh that was born.
Right, so his parents had a
crazy.
baby and it passed away immediately. And so a year later they have him, and his mother just can't connect with him at all. And so he's shunned, basically. He just, like, spends most of his time outside in the woods, just being alone. And, like, he grows up and he wants to become a minister because, like, his father and his grandpa were ministers as well. So he goes, but he's always, like, being really close with the poor people and the sick and stuff, and the church is looking down upon him for that. They're like, we have a certain, like, prestige to look up to
Right,
that
you
we're
gotta look
supposed to.
clean
Yeah,
and-
exactly.
right.
And so they move him to this town that was like a punishment for preachers usually, because it was like people were dying a lot. People didn't really have faith in this town. It was just the worst place for them to be.
Like
He-
Vegas or some shit.
Yeah. And so he gives his house away to a sick lady and moves into like the coal mines or something with all the poor coal miners and shit. And then the church doesn't like that, so they kick him out. They won't reinstate him like when his certificates due or whatever the hell. And so he's like, well, that's bullshit. He moves to some like France or England or somewhere to try and get into there to be a preacher. Or
Where was he originally?
pastor. He's Dutch, so I guess Germany. And he
Don't they know this is how the world wars start?
Yeah.
When you treat a little German bad?
And so he goes over there and does all the schooling and everything, is about to become a pastor, and at the final exam it's in Latin. He refuses to learn Latin, to take a test in Latin. He says it's a dead language, it's stupid.
What's the point?
And they're like, come on. He knows 4 languages already at this point in his life, but he refuses to learn. Like, he's just very stubborn.
That's pretty. I mean, because if he would have learned it, then he would have been able to translate more.
Right, yeah. But he was just being a kind of an asshole. So he says no and decides to become a painter. Because his brother is he runs a gallery or whatever.
Was
He's
he
like a
also
curator.
Vincent?
No, his brother is Theodore.
Oh, okay.
And it's his younger brother.
So his younger brother knows art.
Knows art and stuff and buys, sells, and collects and stuff.
Interesting.
And so he tells his brother, like, I want to pursue art. Because that whole time he was always drawing and stuff. And so his brother basically funds him and sends him like an allowance, like, yeah, for sure, I'll fund you, just do art. And send me, like, I'll pay you this amount for each of your pieces.
Then I'll
and
flip
like that.
them or whatever.
Right. He only sold one piece his entire life that he was alive. And it was at almost the end of his life. But
Damn.
so his brother like pays for him to do all that, and he's doing art, it's just not selling. He moves to Paris to try to get in touch with like the big artists of that time and stuff.
Art scene.
And he learns from them. So throughout this, he's like learning from them, then from Japanese art. He's trying to pull all this stuff together before anyone's really doing that. Everyone just does their own shit, right, in sections. But nobody's
Blending
likes his
into
art
that.
at all, right? And he's getting depressed even more.
Ahead of his time.
He has a relationship with this prostitute who has like 2 kids, and he's like taking care of her. They get addicted to something, I don't remember what, but they get on some drugs and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Basically his family has an intervention and tells him you're not seeing her anymore.
Damn.
So he's all butthurt, but they make him move. He doesn't see her anymore. He's depressed again. And he moves into this yellow house that's apparently really famous for him. Like, he lived most of his famous paintings were painted there.
Oh, okay.
In this like little shack.
Yeah.
In South Paris. And but he's really depressed still and stuff. I think he tries to kill himself at one point. And so his brother pays another artist who's Vincent Van Gogh's friend to live with him. Like, I'll give
Keep
you
an eye
an
on him.
allowance to hang out with him, yeah. Well, they end up getting crazy addicted to absinthe. And they're both just killing absinthe all the time, getting into fights all the time, hallucinating, just crazy shit.
Well, he's probably like a bad influence.
Oh
like
my
Van
God.
Gogh was like, hey, you want to try this absinthe?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
shit'll make you hallucinate and shit.
And at one point they get into a fight, and they like, the other guy runs outside in the alley, and he turns around, and Van Gogh's like got a knife and is in the alley like staring at him.
Oh, shit.
And then Van Gogh runs away and goes back home. And so that guy decides, like, all right, fuck this. He moves.
I don't get paid enough for this.
Yeah, exactly.
Brother's fucking crazy.
Well, so that sends Van Gogh into a deeper depression now.
My best friend.
Yeah.
I tried to kill my best friend. And he left.
Cuts half his ear off, gives it to a prostitute, and tells her, keep this item safe. Or something like that. And then just runs off. Goes home. They find him almost bleeding out to death. And he barely makes it back after all the blood loss and stuff, because it's like 1880. And so his brother puts him in like a hospital, is paying for him to be in a hospital and all of that stuff. And then basically his brother ends up getting a wife and a kid and tells Van Gogh, like, look, I can't really support all of this anymore. And Van Gogh's butthurt. He was like, I didn't want to be a burden. Like, basically, like, this is your idea.
Right.
I don't.
But he's like, I didn't tell you to get a wife and kids, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So Van Gogh's like, but I don't want to be a burden on you. So, whatever. He moves into this house with some people that let him stay there, and he just paints all the time. And he goes out in nature a lot and paints. And I guess one day he goes out there and shoots himself in the chest to kill himself, to unburden his brother. Doesn't work. Doesn't kill himself, and now he's in the hospital for like some months, I guess.
Now he's like, I can't even kill myself. I can't do anything. I can't paint. I can't sell a painting. I can't kill myself.
And his brother comes and at some point, right before he shot himself, they did sell one of his paintings, but it wasn't. I think the reason that didn't help him out of a depression because it wasn't because the person liked his art. Or anything like it was like they needed a space filler or some shit like it was a bullshit reason why they bought it.
Some ironic.
Yeah, exactly.
When the universe has a sense of humor that's fucked up.
Yeah, and so it just spiraled him even more. He shoots himself, but he doesn't die. He's at the hospital for months.
He got sold as like motel art or hotel art, right?
Yeah,
like just
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna put this in by the restroom and shit. And he's like, man, I put my heart into this.
And his brother finally came to see him in the hospital, and they kind of hung out. And supposedly he died with his brother there, like holding him. They were both laying in the bed.
Damn. So then
he was only 35.
What the fuck?
He was all of this and
all that lasted. I thought he was gonna be like 70 or something. I know.
And the way they're talking about it, like when he goes and walks out and shoots himself. The way that the people describe it is like he's an old man, like he was crazy already, like probably senile, I guess, and all that. So they were like, there was never a way to tell he was off, because he was just always off. He was just kind of cuckoo. He moved slow and shit like that. So it's like he wasn't
high all the time,
or the absinthe just fried his brain, maybe, or something.
Supposedly absinthe. They had supposedly a little bit of absinthe was in the Four Locos, and that was what was making people black out.
Yeah.
Not just the caffeine mixed with the.
There's even more than that. Yeah. That's crazy.
So then, when did the documentary talk about when his stuff started selling?
So it didn't say like a date, but it did say his mother lived to see like him become prominent in art or whatever. His art become noticed, I guess. And it's fucked up because, like, so she didn't give a shit, obviously. They were saying when he died, so his brother dies, like, 6 months after him. And then the brother's wife is now in charge of all the Van Gogh art, basically. So she has to go find them all. And because this man moved all around Paris and Europe and shit, so there's paintings everywhere. There's, like, he paid a debt off to this person with the painting or whatever the case. And so
she's trying to collect them all.
So she finally collects them all, and there wasn't many because supposedly he painted. That's all he did, all day, every day, like to the point where other artists hated him because he would talk shit about them. He'd be like, "You're not dedicated like I am." Like that's how he looked at other artists. He was like, from sun up to sundown, I'm painting.
They're like, but you're not selling, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
so
fucking
they fucking
selling.
hated him.
Yeah.
But his mom, so they're saying, she got to see all his art sell, but she had already thrown away by that point like 4 crates of art of his that she just had over the years.
Yeah.
But she didn't give a shit, so she threw them away. And then he gets famous and whatever.
Holy fuck. They should have just named him something. I mean, they kind of like did. It was like his destiny in a way.
Yeah.
It's the way they shunned him and sent him outside and named him after somebody who died, and like you got to live up to the expectations.
Right.
basically angelic being, a perfect.
That's what they say. Yeah, that he would say like, I'm trying to live up to an angel. Like,
right?
How can I never?
Yeah,
can?
you can never be perfect and
Yeah.
innocent like that. And it's like, whoa, shit.
Yo.
And then he became one of the biggest painters of all time. I think the Cypress, right, is one of his. Or do you know any of the paintings? Or
Well,
no?
Starry Night is his for sure.
Starry Night.
The one that looks like that kind of.
Yeah.
That's him, and then
See, he had to be tripping on something.
man, the self-portraits he has are like clearly he was tripping.
Did you see the descent of Pablo Picasso's?
No, I
portraits?
haven't.
When he's like real young, he's like a regular.
Oh, I have
face.
seen the self-portrait how it gets crazier, and then the last one is just like
distorted. You can't even tell what it is.
Yeah.
I thought he was a lot longer. I think Pablo Picasso is either alive or he just died recently.
He died not that long ago. Where's that green one?
Do you have a favorite painter, Yvette?
No. Lisa Frank?
Well, did she paint? I think in the beginning she probably painted, right? Like it wasn't no digital
Well,
shit.
it looks like the animals are painted.
I don't know. I guess just the colors he used and stuff, like the weird. Like
It looks like he's on
he painted an
mushrooms.
aura around stuff. I
Bored, so
feel.
he's rebuilding some old car, I guess.
Damn, I wish I had the gumption to like go be friends with him so he can give me money.
I think about it a lot with some of these old man customers. Like if I was real nice, I could get in there on like a grandson level type of thing. Get an inheritance on any path. Who knows? I don't know.
I might.
Or just give me one of those cars, maybe. Who knows?
Damn. I might even like tug off one of them if they ask.
Somebody's just got a lot of money, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Bro, he's showing me his cars. He's got like, those 70s cars when they're built right are worth like 50 grand. And he's probably got 7 of these cars in his garage.
Ah, they're beautiful.
That's pretty cool.
When I see them driving, it's like, oh, we went from that such a downgrade.
It's annoying. And it's, even colors. Like all the old cars, they had different colors. Like even there was yellow or pink even.
Avocado
Now it's just like
green.
gray.
Gray.
Everything is a different shade of gray for the most part.
Cobalt,
Or, yeah.
dark gray.
Yeah. That's all I match every color all day. It's just like light gray, dark gray, green gray, purple gray, whatever.
Oh, that's whack.
Yeah, it's real whack.
It would be cool to get a gay customer and they're like, I want the rainbow.
That would be dope. We found this customer brought in a piece of his old, it's like a 60-something Mustang, and it was like pink metallic, like sparkly, but really like a salmon pink. And I was confused. I was like, there's no way this is the original color. There's no way Ford Mustang in the 60s was like,
Right.
American muscle, let's make it pink. But they did.
Really?
It's an original, and I started looking at all the original colors of them, and it's like blues, greens, pink, red.
Well, Elvis loved pink cars. Pink used to be like, it was like Cameron before Cameron.
Right,
And shit.
yeah.
Pink just makes its waves to men every once in a while. Right now it's off.
Yeah.
It'll be back, I guess. Hopefully not. For a while. My dad used to wear pink a little bit.
Little Cody used to wear pink all the time in high school. He was so cool.
Like matching bandana and stuff? Or?
Like everything, yeah.
Pink
Shoelaces,
was in for a little
bandana.
bit.
Yeah.
Are you recording now? Should we like start over?